Hello and good evening to you all. Welcome to another session of Daily News Simplified dated 15th February 2024. We have taken up important news articles and newses and curated them in form of prelims and summary discussion from The Hindu, Indian Express and Business Line newspaper, New Delhi edition dated 15th February. So we have taken up four topics for prelims discussion and three important articles which featured in various newspaper and their important key takeaways. So we will begin our discussion with summary discussion of important article and then we will move on to discuss the prelims topic. So there is a very good article. First is a demand that could hamper equality. Now here, this news article is focusing on the issue of paid menstrual leave for women, which is now being demanded. And author, being a woman herself, has put forth her point of opinion regarding this demand. Second, we have taken up this does trust in national government matters. Now, it is, you may say, a critical examination of the nature of present government, and they have given their opinion regarding what state is doing and how it is not going well with the population and how this trust issue between the population and government could hamper uh, developmental agenda. Third article we have taken up is related to our neighboring country Pakistan and the recently held elections there, that is the illusion of change in Pakistan, where author has opined that whatever were the expectation regarding to these elections, expectation in terms of related to various stakeholders including India, and what has come out as a result is kind of disappointment, and nobody got the prediction or the desired outcome of these elections. So India neighborhood relation is important, so we have taken up this news article. For prelims, we have taken up topic of Finance Commission as the first meeting of 16th Finance Commission convened, and they decided upon the scope and the process. Second, we have taken up MCQ based on Fatehpur Sikri, because there is a news article which majorly talks about the accessibility to the those who are physically disabled. So that article is not that important from your examination perspective, but this being a UNESCO World Heritage Site is important from prelims perspective. Then the third question is based on bond yield, and Indian and US government securities are seeing a growth in their bond yield due to owing mainly due to you may say recent inflation, high headline inflation in United States of America. Then recently, Kerala government has come up with a demand of amending the Wildlife Protection Act so as to reduce the man animal conflict. So we have taken up these four topics. So without any delay, let us begin our discussion with summary. And the first news article that we are going to cover today is this one, which featured on page number 6 of the Hindu newspaper. And heading is a demand that could hamper gender equality. Now, according to author, where she starts this argument that the Sabrimala case, as you know, she quotes Sabrimala case as a very good example where the issue of women menstrual cycle came into picture, and the taboo related to it, the discrimination being faced by women. This case brought out all those issues in the forefront of public debate and discussion. But according to author, this new demand, that is the paid leave, paid menstrual leave for women, will be detrimental uh, to the women empowerment movement altogether. And she has given her argument in favor of this proposition that such demand would be detrimental for women empowerment. So we will look into the arguments that she is giving, and you can use these points to enrich your answer, especially GS paper 1, that is society, the women issues, GS paper 2, the social justice part, as well as in essay papers. And some good arguments that she has put forth, and substantiated with it with a good case study also. So first thing she says that global gender gap report, which is published by the World Economic Forum, that is WEF, highlights that contrary to our notion that in 21st century this gender gap must be reducing, she says that it has highlighted that it is further widening. It came as a surprise for many. And she says that this report, according to this report, the world still needs 135.6 years to reach gender parity. She says there are issues of global issues. It is not just India, it is not just any particular country, global south or something. It is a global overview that women are facing low labor force participation rate. First, they are facing issues related to recruitment and pay parity. Okay, they are facing issues related to lower representation at higher ranks. And again, 135.6 years are required to get the gender parity in true sense to achieve that aim. Now she says that if women are facing issues like low labor force participation, pay disparity, higher non-representation at higher ranks, that is glass ceiling, if you can use that term, adding such uh, conditions like paid leaves will further dissuade companies from the recruitment of women altogether. So she's saying that such demand will further delay the process of achieving the aim of gender parity, because issues are already there. They have low participation, they have pay disparity, reasons are multiple reasons are being given, they are not being raised to higher ranks. So if you will add this demand also, the private companies corporation will be reluctant to take them as their employee. Second, she says that now you are giving this special paid leaves. So it is kind of giving a special status. So you are highlighting, or you may say you are pointing out a person altogether that, okay, someone is going through this phase. So you are providing this special status, which is again, according to author, it validates the social stigma. Social stigma basically related to the concept of purity and impurity. Okay, so author says that bringing out a blanket disease, or not blanket, you may say, uh, provision, rather the this topic, the menstrual period, differs from person to person. The complexity, the difficulties, it differs from person to person. So what author says that don't bring a blanket notion or blanket demand or term everyone that someone is facing difficulties, that is why they require this leave. Rather, you should curate something which is case to case basis, because again you are just reinforcing that social stigma that okay, this is a person who is in need of leave. So that concept of purity impurity will again get reinforced through this. And she gives several examples, like she quotes the findings of NFHS 5, which tells that in the age group of 15 and 24, around 50% women are not using sanitary napkins but rather using clothes, which is very much prone and very much capable of giving them multiple kind of infections, which is going to hamper their health. Then she says that most of the girls in villages and tier 2 tier 3 cities are compelled to leave the school during this period, and they face social exclusion. And she says that this exclusion comes from both male and females. Okay, so author says that it is due to two reasons: the use of cloth and this social inclusion. First is unawareness. Second is the stigma. Now, asking for such leaves, the proponent who support the idea of granting paid leave says that it will bring the asking demanding such leave will create awareness. But author says, what about a stigma? You are magnifying that stigma by pointing out, or you may say picking out selected people, and you are kind of broadcasting the idea that this person is going through certain period or certain complex uh, duration where the person needs a leave. So you are magnifying, you are not doing anything to remove this stigma attached to the cycle. And to support this, she gives a very good case study of Japan, where the there is a provision since last 7 decades, that is 70 years, for painful menstrual leave. But she says that only 0.9% of women have availed it. And sorry, this is unpaid leave. And she says that this is just 0.9% of women who are working have availed this leave. And most of them, those who have not, they have given the same. I use the term, you are broadcasting the idea. They have given the same answer, that we don't want to broadcast our situation. Secondly, she says that Japan ranks in this global gender gap report. The rank of Japan is very poor. It is 125 out of 153 countries, because the discrimination creeps in at the level of job, where they will not prefer women to recruit for their recruitment. First. Second, there is a pay disparity. So author says that since 70 years there is a provision of leave, but women themselves are reluctant to use it. Even after using, the performance, or like the idea of achieving the gender parity, is an illusion, because the gender disparity comes when you will come to the stage of recruitment plus at the pay. So she says that since a country has already tried its hand on this paid leave or unpaid leave, and it has not borne any positive result till date. So with this, author says that way out, as we discussed, that We must recognize the diverse nature of menstrual experiences, because somebody will be feeling more pain, somebody will be not feeling that much pain, and it is a case to case, it should be a case to case basis base affair. So she says that tailoring support and being accommodative on a case by case basis will promote inclusivity. Okay. And while also addressing the individual needs of those navigating their difficult periods. So in crux, the author claims that being a woman, I just want to put forth the idea which is counter to this demand. So you can go through the PDF and get the detailed pointers there. Let's move on to the next topic of today's discussion, which is, does trust in national government matter? This news article featured on page number 7 of the Hindu newspaper. Now, what is this article about? Here I want to tell you a few things before moving on to this discussion. That this article criticizes the government. So you should always use the pointers which have been discussed in such a manner by referring that this is the expert have some opinion. Don't make it in your don't make them your personal opinion in answer. While whenever you are using such terminology or such you may say arguments, do write that some experts believe this, believe that, or they have to say this. Don't make them your personal opinion altogether. So let's begin the discussion. And at the beginning, at the onset, the author have said that aggressive pursuit of Hindutva, the unprovoked brutality against minorities, and heavy-handed suppression of freedom of speech and expression have impacted the in a negative manner the trustworthiness of democracy in India. An author argue that since the democracy is edged in the history of India, we have a rich ancient heritage of democratic credentials, starting just for reference, Mahajanpadas, which continued in present day India even after independence. And the source, the affirmation came from preamble itself, where if you can recall the language, that we the people of India. So authority or the power stems from the people of India, citizen of India. Okay, so again, emphasizing on the need of democratic principles and democratic credentials. So they have given this argument that since we have a long history, we must discuss these issues, because according to the authors, uh, the credentials of democracy are under threat, under severe threat. And they have given several instances. You may say they have segregated their discussion into three parts, to which they call it is manifestation of a state on Indian democracy, where state has manifested its viewpoint or its way of working on the Indian democracy. And first they talk about the ethnic state. So here they say that government or the state policy is discriminatory on the ethnic lines. And here they give example of Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019, and they say that it has categorically excluded Muslims, and while giving citizenship to the migrants or immigrants, and it categorically kept out Muslims out of the provisions of Citizenship Amendment Act of 2019. The second manifestation, they say that state is in absolute form, that state is putting or state is exercising the decision in an abrupt unilateral methods. And here they give example of uh, article 370, abrogation of article 370, and bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir without consultation. Here they say that state is being, you may say, arbitrary, unilateral in their approach and is practicing the absolute form of manifestation on Indian democracy. Third, they say that state is opaque. Opaque in which regard? Opaque in accepting the criticism. Here they say that restrictions on media, restrictions on newspapers, publications, to an extent that government has pushed agencies to scrap their report if it is highlighting anything which is contrary to the claims made by the government. And they have given example of national sample survey report on per capita expenditure on consumption, and they said that in 2017 and 18 this report highlighted that per capita expenditure on consumption fell down to a level which was way below the claims of the government, and government made this agency to scrap this report altogether. Further, they say that there are important manifestations. Recently, what happened, you all might be aware of the fact that several MPs were disqualified or they were suspended. Suspension would be the correct word. They were suspended from parliament. And in absence of these MPs, a very important bill, which which was related to bringing reforms in criminal procedures, and we generally call it criminal reform bills. And they say that during this period of suspension of several MPs, government went ahead with passage of such a crucial bill. So now, giving these examples and arguments that state is acting as ethnic state, absolute power and opaqueness is there, they are not responsive, they are not positively responsive to the criticism, and they are making their way out, circumventing all the procedures or the established conventions of the parliament, like passing a crucial bill without a substantial number of MPs. They say that how it is affecting, now the topic comes that how the trust in national government matter. Now they say that trust in national government is a bridge between the authoritative policy and democratic credentials. So trust acts as a bridge between the authoritative policies and democratic credentials. So they say that here they again make a extreme comment that this government is enjoying the trust of majority because majority population is Hindu. So they say that that is why they are enjoying this repo with their citizen or the public population of the country, because majority belongs to one particular religion. Secondly, they say that focusing on short term goals, they have brought about some good initiatives like Ujjwala, like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, which suddenly gives them the revival and that trust again builds up. But they quote that during 2018 to 2021, there is an important report which is Gallup World Poll Survey, Gallup, Gallup, Gallup World Poll Survey, which highlights that during 2018 and 21, this trust on the government has has witnessed a decline. And reason, according to authors, are all these things, that those short term, you may say, lucrative announcement and schemes are not giving the dividend to a level that what government expects. And they are quoting this report that this poll highlighted that there was a dip in the trust between the citizen and the government. So finally, they simply say that unless, as you can see here, this is their solution and way ahead, that unless repressive and autocratic policies are reversed, the survival of democracy seems bleak. Now, I will again say that don't make these as your opinion whenever you have to pick up some points, because all these issues are debated, whether it is matter of abrogation of article 370 or the citizenship amendment act or the report of national sample survey. These all are the topics of continuous debate, and there are argument in favor as well as against. So whenever you want to pick up some argument from this news article, do mention that some expert or some critique have to say this. Don't make them their own opinion. Okay, so you can again refer to the PDF for detailed analysis or summary of this topic. The next summary is based on this news article, that is the illusion of change in Pakistan, which featured on page number 8 of the Hindu newspaper. So again, an interesting analysis, and why we are covering this, because India and its neighborhood has been mentioned in your syllabus. Pakistan being one of the biggest concern for India since its independence, and a destabilized neighborhood is a threat to is very prone to create a threat to the stability of the region altogether, leave alone India. Second issue is that bilateral talks, the solution, the long term, or you may say the most prudent solution between India and Pakistan, most of the experts believe and most of the politicians believe on both sides that talk is the only solution. Now, we in India know clearly that who is going to be our representative in such bilateral meetings and talks. Our elected government, foreign minister, prime minister, defense minister. But this is not the case with the Pakistani government. We don't have any clue that we are talking to whom, whether it is military, the deep state, whether it is elected government, whether it is their intelligence agency, ISI. So there is no clear-cut representative of our neighboring. So bilateral talks remain futile most of the time. So again, some argue that even if there is an elected government, nothing is going to be sorted out. Yes, true that establishment, that is the deep military backed deep state, has a strong say over their foreign policy and internal matters. But at least there should be and there will be someone who we can hold accountable. We can call them, we can tell them that, see, these were the promises that you made and you are not doing it, or let's meet up and talk about this, because something substantial should be there. So just a brief overview what happened in these elections and why we are covering the, I told you this, and just a brief overview what happened there, and then we will move on to the prelims section. So to understand this, let's start with the year 2022. Now, in what happened in 2022, before that we must be aware of two three parties. That is, first is Imran Khan's PTI, that is Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. So It came with the backing of again the deep state, the military, and things went south, and things were not good in later years. And then the two major opposition party, that is PPP. You can easily associate it with the Benazir Bhutto, the Pakistan People's Party, and Pakistani Muslim League led by Nawaz Sharif. That is why the name N, PMLN. They both came together, and they named this coalition as PDM, People Democratic Movement. And they were able to ousted Imran Khan's PTI from power in 2022. Now, this coalition was again, things were not good between Imran Khan and army. So army backed this coalition, and this coalition came into power. Now, author says the situation in 2022. What kind of situation? That unstable coalition government backed by army is at center. The ousted government led by Imran Khan is on streets and courts, spreading riots and demonstrating and filing cases. And third thing, the population, the civilians of Pakistan, they faced all kind of difficulties, starting from inflation and spread of diseases, everything. Author says situation has not improved with in 2024 also. It is simple PDM 2.0 which is going to replicate itself in 2024 also. We will see how. So background is this. So first thing, author says there were three stakeholders majorly. First is the world including India, which were hoping for a election which may bring out whosoever is backing. It was not a matter of concern, but world was looking at this election so that the stability in Pakistan can be restored, and thus the stability and in region can be restored. The second stakeholder were the army backed deep state, which they call establishment. They were hoping to have control over whosoever is going to govern the country. Third stakeholder were the people of Pakistan, who were expecting a free and fair election. Now, according to author, nothing has been fulfilled. All three stakeholders have not got anything what they were waiting for or aspiring for, because no party got a clear majority. First thing, so stability would not be there. There would be a coalition government, and certainly it is not that stable as we can term a government with a clear cut majority. Second, despite using all its apparatus and all its, you may say, might, first time army failed to convert the votes in favor of the backed the candidate which were being backed by army or establishment, and this time establishment went ahead supporting Pakistani Muslim League Nawaz, PMLN. And PMLN fared badly in these elections, in center also and in state assemblies also, because it came second. And army, which has a history of being in control of state affairs, first time tasted the brunt of anger of people, because here independent candidates of Imran Khan's, who were backed by Imran Khan, because this PTI was disqualified, or you may say deregistered by Election Commission. So most of the candidates who were backed by Imran Khan fought this election independently. So army faced defeat in shape that the PTI backed independent member came as the top scorer. They won 93 seats. Thirdly, the free and fair election. It never happened. All kind of news of nets shut down, lockdown, both capturing irregularities, all came up in the news. So all three stakeholder got nothing out of it. Further, this news article says that this Pakistani Muslim League, that is PML Nawaz, faced two kind of embarrassment. First, despite being backed by army, it failed to garner support in the national, a clear-cut majority in National Assembly. Plus, it failed miserably in state assembly, state of Punjab, which was their traditional stronghold. They did not get majority there also. While again, the PTI backed, the former PTI backed independent candidate, the stronghold of PTI was Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They have gained majority there in state assembly. Same is the case with PPP also. They have a stronghold in Sindh region. So they did very good in their state assembly and are got clear-cut majority. But the PML, which was backed by army in both at both state, like National Assembly and State Assembly, they could not muster support in their favor despite having backing of army. So now author says this destabilized coalition government is again giving scope to army, because now army will be the kingmaker. It will decide who to bring on board to make a coalition government. So again, the power is going to remain with the army, and in center there is a talk of PMLN and PPP forming coalition government in center. Thirdly, now as we said that free and fair election were not done, and PTI, the former PTI members or the independent members are filing cases, and that is why author says this election is nothing but the PDM, People Democratic Movement 2.0, because everything is same, coalition government in center, backed by army. The opposition is on roads, protesting, filing cases. Court is going to pronounce something and invalidate few elections. So they are saying nothing came out positive or anything different, and that's why the title, The Illusion of Change in Pakistan, because nothing changed. It is just a newer version of what was there already. So that was all for another important thing which this article highlights, that regional parties have lost their relevance more or less in these elections. There is only one party, that is Muttahida Qawmi Movement, MQMP, which belongs to Sindh province. This is the only party which fared to fare well to some extent, while others, religious and local small parties, have lost badly in these elections. So these are the few highlights that author has raised, and the main concern is that what we were waiting for, a stable, strong government, so that we can initiate or we can move in a positive direction, is again remained an illusion, because it is just a newer version of what has been the history since last 5-6 years. So that's all from the summary perspective. We will move on to the prelims topic that we have taken up today. So first topic that we are, the first MCQ that we are going to take up today is based on this news article which featured on page number 15 of the Indian Express newspaper. Now, as the News suggests that chairman under the chairmanship of Mr. Arvind Pangadia, the first meeting of 16th Finance Commission was convened, and what they discussed, the term is the term of references, the TOR. What is it? It is simple. In crude terms, just understand that they discuss the agenda or the methodologies that they are going to, or the areas that they are going to cover in their subsequent meetings. So, what are those agendas? What are those dimensions that this finance commission is going to cover? We should refer to the constitution itself. If you will refer to article 280, which deals with the finance commission of India, and if you will look into the subpart 3, the role of finance commission has been clearly mentioned. First is the vertical distribution. Now, what is vertical distribution? You know that in federal structure, there is the center and there are states. Okay. So, what first the subclause A says that distribution between union and the states of the net proceed of taxes which are to be divided between them. Okay, so whatever the net proceed of taxes are there, what amount would be divided between center, that is union, and state, the vertical distribution will be decided. Now please let me know in the comment box, what is that percentage as per the 15th Finance Commission? What is that percentage that is being divided between union and state? Fine. Now they have to give their recommendation on the horizontal distribution also. Now certain amount is decided. Let's say that out of 100 rupees, center will give 50 to state. Now from this 50, which state is going to get what amount? That is horizontal distribution. And you know that there are several criteria like economy, population, the demographic planning, the population, the size, all these criteria have different weightage to them. And based on these criteria, Finance Commission has to recommend that which state is going to get what amount. So the vertical between center and state and horizontal among the states. So both recommendation on both the issues they will give. Second, the principles which should govern the grants in aid of the revenues of the state out of the consolidated fund of India. Grants in aid. Okay. Third thing, if you are aware of the PRIs, you know, the State Finance Commission and all those things, it talks about that only, that measures needed to augment consolidated fund of a state to supplement the resources of the panchayat. And the C section says that same thing for the municipalities also. The subclause D says that apart from this, any other matter referred to the commission by the president in the interest of sound finance, so finance commission has to dwell upon those issues also. So these are the terms of reference which finance commission, the 16th finance commission is going to take up, that how they are going forward with such issues. So as you know, the constitutional bodies like finance commission and other constitutional bodies mentioned in your syllabus are important theme for UPSC examination. And in 2015, they have directly asked question based on the recommendation of 14th Finance Commission. Fine. So we have taken up a basic question related to the Finance Commission because the devolution and all those recommendation will come in detail, and then we will cover them in mains article also, and we will take a prelims question also. So let's revise the basics related to Finance Commission. You have to identify the correct statements, and statement 1 says the constitution prescribes the time frame for its constitution, that is Constitution of Finance Commission, and qualification of members of the commission. Now, this statement is partially correct, because if you will look at the original text of the constitution, article 280 subclause 1 says, the president shall, within 2 years from the commencement of this constitution, and thereafter at the expiry of every fifth year, or at such earlier time as president considers necessary. So yes, time frame has been provided by the constitution, that every fifth year it is mandatory to constitute a finance commission, but before that also you can constitute a finance commission. But if you will see the subclause 2, it says, Parliament by law determine the qualification which shall be requisite for appointment as member of the commission and the manner in which they shall be selected. So yes, constitution provides the time frame, but it is leaving the matter to the discretion or purview of the parliament to make laws related to qualification and manner of their selection. So first statement is incorrect. Second statement says the chairman shall be a retired Chief Justice of High Court. Now, here the term shall makes this statement incorrect, because using this constitutional provision, Parliament has enacted law and it has given the following qualification to be appointed as a chairman. And if you have gone through the news, you already know that Mr. Arvind Pangaria is not a retired Chief Justice. Okay, so there is no such compulsion. For chairmanship, it simply says person should be a person of having experience in public affairs. And for other four members, it say a judge of high court, a person who has a specialized knowledge, a person who has wide experience in financial matters, a person who has a special knowledge of economics. So any four members can be picked if they satisfy any of these four requirements. So there is no such compulsion of picking a retired high court judge as a chairman, and the term shall makes this statement incorrect. The third statement says the recommendation of the commission is binding on the government. Now, again, this is a quasi-judicial body. Its recommendations are advisory and not binding. So, you can again refer to the constitution. It says the president shall cause, if you will see article 281, the president shall cause every recommendation made by the finance commission under the provisions of the constitution, together with an explanatory memorandum. Here you can see explanatory memorandum as to the action taken thereon, to be laid before both house of the parliament. That is, if action is taken, if it is accepted, give the explanation. If it is not, give the explanation. So article 281 clearly says that you just have to give the explanation that why you have picked up the recommendation and why you have rejected the recommendation. So this is more of a advisory body, not a not giving binding recommendation. So again, the third statement is also incorrect. So our answer would be D, that is none. Okay. Let's move on to the second news article. The inspiration for our next MCQ is based on this news article, and it titles If Fatehpur Sikri Can, and for a good, you can use it in your case studies also. That author has highlighted a very good thing, that this city, UNESCO heritage site, which was built in 1569 AD, has been made nearly 95% wheelchair accessible. So author says if Fatehpur Sikri has achieved this feat, why others cannot? Because author has highlighted her difficulties in visiting various sites where she wanted to visit. So she gives example of Fatehpur Sikri and says that almost 95% of the city, the tourist area, has been made wheelchair accessible. So let us just have some information regarding this city. Detailed discussion, detailed coverage of all the monuments, important monuments, have been given in the PDF. So do refer the PDF for detailed coverage of Fatehpur Sikri. We have picked up just important information which are required for your MCQ purpose. So it was built between 1571 and 1585. Mughal Emperor Akbar chose Fatehpur Sikri as the site for his capital and employed red sandstone in its construction. Secondly, it was abandoned in 1585 during a campaign in Punjab and completely deserted in 1610. And it has been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1986. Now, again, for your preparation, just go through this UNESCO World Heritage Site list, because most of the questions which are based on important heritage sites in India, located in India, are from this list only, the World Heritage Site list. And you can see here that UPSC has been asking question, and they have asked a particular question in 2018 where they have given features of Buland Darwaza, which is again a monument in the city of Fatehpur Sikri. So we have taken up practice MCQ based on the features of Fatehpur Sikri, and you have to identify the correct statement. Statement 1 says, at Ibadat Khana in Fatehpur Sikri, Akbar established a syncretic faith known as Deen-e-Ilahi. Second statement says, Buland Darwaza was added to Fatehpur Sikri complex after Jahangir's victory over Mewar. Now, if you can see this picture, the first picture is of Buland Darwaza, and it was added in the city of Fatehpur Sikri, which has several other gates like Agra Gate, Gwalior Gate, Lal Gate. Different gates are there for the access in the city. One of the biggest, or you may say most magnificent among them is Buland Darwaza, and it was added to commemorate the Akbar's successful Gujarat campaign, not Jahangir's campaign of Mewar. So this statement is incorrect, and the first statement is correct, as you can see here that Ibadat Khana, in Hindi or in English you know it as house of worship, where you pray. So here it was built in 1575, and foundations of this faith, that is Deen-e-Ilahi, was led by Akbar here in Ibadat Khana. So first statement is correct. So our answer would be A, that is 1 only. Now, next question is based on this news article which featured on Business Line, page number F2. Now, news is simply about the Indian and US government bond yields have increased as US headline inflation in January rose more than what was expected. So here we will take up a question based on bonds because it is an important theme from your examination perspective, and we will understand some key terms related to bond. But before moving to that, just understand one simple thumb rule. If market value, we will discuss these terms. Just a thumb rule. There is an inverse relation between the market value and the bond yield. So if market value will go up, the yield will go down. A simple thumb rule. Now understand this. The first two key terms are the face value and market value. Now, what is face value and what is market value? Now these bonds are released at some price or some value in primary market. Now that value is face value. Now in secondary market, when they are traded, let's say bond is a debt instrument, the government and corporation release them to raise capital for them. So they give they sell this instrument as a promising note that we will give you certain amount of interest at certain amount of time, and investor invest in these bonds. So most of the banks, basically banks and mutual funds, are the biggest investor in the bond market. So what happens that this is the primary market. These banks will purchase from the government or corporation. Now this is primary market. Here it is the face value. Now they will trade it in the secondary market to other investors. So that is the market value. And what I told you, the yield will depend upon the market value and it will share an inverse relationship. So if market value is lower than the face value, if market value is lower than the face value, yield will increase. How? Because this phenomena is known as, because rate of return increases, and this is known as the hardening. Hardening of bond yields, because yields are increasing. How? I will give you one example. Let's say a bond which has a face value of 100 and promises to give return of 5%. What does it mean? It will give rupees 105 to the investor. Okay. Now for any commodity, when value goes down, when there is low demand, when there are better options, then demand will go down. Now let's say market value is going down. Now the new value is 95 rupees. Okay, but this instrument still will give return of 105. So here it was a 5% interest, but if you will purchase it at a lower market value, you are going to get 10.5% return. So market value is going down, but your yield is going up, because now the rate of return will increase. And same is true when market value will go up, because when market value will be more than the face value, the yield will go down. Now just use this same example and imagine that now the new market value is 103. So you are going to purchase it at 103, but return is same 105. So your rate of return is diminishing. Okay. But when market value is going down, your rate of return is increasing as an investor. Fine. So why we have discussed this? Because see, in 2021 itself, they have asked a question based on bond yields, that Indian government bond yields are influenced by which of the following. They have given you 3 options. So we have taken up the practice MCQ on the same line, and we have said that consider the following factors. How many of the above mentioned factors will result in hardening of bond yields? What I told you, hardening means yield will increase. That is hardening. If yield will decrease, it is softening. So basically what you have to do, you have to simply think about when the market value will go down, and you will get your answer. So first you can simply eliminate that value will not go down if there is a raise in demand. Okay, then value will go up, because there is a rise in demand and people are ready to pay more for the same thing. So you can easily eliminate that we need to find options which are corroborating with going down of the lowering of the market value. But here the first option says rising the demand. It will increase the market value, decreasing the yield, that is softening. So you can eliminate first. Second says the sale of government securities by central bank under open market operation. Now, I told you value will go down when there are better lucrative option in the market. So if government is releasing G-Secs which are more lucrative, then definitely the market value of these bonds will go down and yield will go up because of the inverse relation, and that is why the second statement is correct. Third statement says increased borrowing by the government. Now, if government is going to borrow money from the market, it is bound to release more bonds in the market. So again, market is flooded with the bonds. Again, demand of previous unattractive bond will go down. Okay. So yes, it will again lead to the lowering market value, high yield. So our answer would be B, that is only 2. You can refer to the PDF. This topic has been covered in detail. Here you can take a screenshot that demand of bond, when it decreases, when it increases, what happens, what are the reasons, and how it impacts the bond holder. Fine. So let us take up the last topic of today's discussion, that is the last MCQ, which is based on this news article which featured on page number 1 of the Hindu newspaper. The Kerala House requests central government to amend Wildlife Act to tackle man-human conflict. Now there are two demands mainly. Kerala government has unanimously passed the resolution and urged the central government to make chief forest conservator or chief forest conservator as a designated authority to allow the use of lethal force against those wild animals who are trespassing into human settlements and are posing a threat or life threat to the residents there. Secondly, they have asked the government to find scientific and human methods to control the wildlife population, and both of this, especially this making chief forest conservator as the designated authority for use of force against the trespassing wild animals, you need to amend the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. Fine. So these legislations are important, and you can see in 2023 they have asked a question that once a central government notifies an area as a community reserve, what are the outcomes of it? So we have taken up a question based on chief wildlife warden. Why? Because here they are demanding to make chief forest conservator as the authority, while chief wildlife warden is the present authority to give such directives or give such permissions. So you have to consider these statements in light of chief wildlife warden. First statement says it is a statutory authority who heads the state forest department. This is again a partially correct statement, not completely. Yes, it is a statutory authority, but this warden does not heads the state forest department, because it is chief conservator of forest who is the head of state forest department, while chief wildlife warden is head of the wildlife wing of the forest department. So there is forest department for a state where chief conservator of forest would be heading this, and under this department there is a wing of wildlife And as the name suggests, the chief wildlife warden would be head of this wing, not the forest department. So this statement is incorrect, because yes, it is a statutory authority, but it is not heading the state forest department. Second statement says, with the permission of chief wildlife warden, any person can hunt diseased animal beyond recovery. So you can hunt an animal who is diseased and there is no scope of its recovery. So if you will look at the powers in special cases where hunting of wild animal is allowed, that chief wildlife warden, if he is satisfied that any wild animal is specified in schedule 1 has become dangerous to human life or is so disabled or diseased as to beyond recovery, by order in writing, permit any person to hunt such animal or cause animal to be hunted. You have heard the term vermin animal. Same is true for schedule 2, schedule 3 or schedule 4 animal also. The chief wildlife warden will have the authority to allow any such thing. Now, last statement says any wild animal killed in is the sole property of the government. Now, again, this statement is correct, because if you will read this last point, that any wild animal killed or wounded in defense of any person shall be government property. So, yes, it is a sole property of the government, wounded or killed. So as you had to find the correct statement, our answer would be B, that is only 2. So that's all for today's session. You can drop your doubts in the comment box. We will try to solve them as soon as possible. Do like the video if you like the initiative, and subscribe to the official Raus channel for latest current affair updates. Thank you so much.